So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. So in this live session we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will try to cover important articles from our newspaper today. We will try to go through one or two explained articles as well, because there is one important announcement which has been made in the sector of agriculture. So we will be focusing on that today. Okay, a little bit longer discussion will be there on that agriculture sector. So let's start with the outline. You know that we give you a practice question every day in the end of the session. So we will be discussing that practice question first, and then we will be going for the next section, that is about your fact of the day. We will try to cover a fact which can be important for you from your exams point of view. Then know our constitution. This is something, this is kind of a static revision, or you can say this is something when we talk about examination, or you can say if you look at the PYQs, there is this tendency that there are direct questions which has been asked from the constitution. So we will be looking at that particular area. Then from our important articles point of view, if we see today's newspaper, there are 3-4 important articles, that is Supreme Court to lay guidelines for the due course. Here you can see, we can see over here Supreme Court questions bulldozer justice. Okay, you know that these incidences has been increasing, starts from UP and then it has spread across various other states like Maharashtra, Rajasthan as well. Okay, so considering that, we will be looking into the Supreme Court's point of view on this, and Supreme Court has said that they will be going for the giving some certain guidelines. So we will be talking about this particular article. Then moving further, we will be talking about the plan for the farms. Okay, so basically there is this digital agriculture mission which has been announced. So we will be talking about that. Then PM's visit to Singapore and Brunei. In this context, we will be talking about the Act East policy as well. Okay, we will be giving a passing reference to Act East policy, and in the end there will be article for your own read, that is your for your own read, and then in the end there will be a practice question. This is the front page. We have said that we will be discussing this. Other than that, this particular bail related issues, we have talked about this various times, so it is not necessary to go through the article again. Okay, so let's start with the discussion, and we will be seeing the practice question first here. Which ocean borders Namibia to the west? Okay, yesterday we have talked about Namibia, and we have seen that there are elephants which has been killed over here to for the requirement of meat. Other than that, there are droughts, because of which also Namibia was in news. Now here if we see, this is the location of Namibia, and they are asking in on the west coast of Namibia which ocean is there. So this is your South Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so here you will be seeing that option A would be your right answer, that is Atlantic Ocean, because South Atlantic is part of your broader Atlantic Ocean only. Okay, so option A would be your right answer over here. Okay, other than that, you can remember the location of Namibia, you can remember the nearby countries, that is important for you. Now moving further and looking at the fact of the day. Recently, man-eating wolf attack in Bahrain has put around 35 villages on high alert, and Operation Bhedia has been launched by the forest officials. Now this Operation Bhedia is important for you. Now in the prelims etc., they might ask you a direct question with respect to the Operation Bhedia. Now when we are talking about this man-eating wolf, basically they are talking about a grey wolf over here. It is a species of wolf, and when we talk about India, in India we have like two species. One is Indian wolf and second is Himalayan wolf. Okay, Indian wolf, if we talk about that, you will be finding in the area of the northwest India. Northwestern India, if we see, that would be Rajasthan, okay, Haryana, Gujarat. These are the areas will be there where you will be finding the Indian wolf. And then there is another, that is your Tibetan or Himalayan wolf. So these Tibetan or Himalayan wolves, they will be found in the Trans-Himalayan area. Okay, so that is the spread of these grey wolves. So basically right now, if we are talking about this particular Operation Bhedia, which has been launched in the UP Barhej, because there were 35 people who has actually lost their life. So that is why this particular issue was in news. And for your information, only thing which is important is that Operation Bhedia. Now they can ask you about the objective. Okay, they can ask you like how it is related to, they can give you different you can say options, like one can be anti-terrorist squad kind of or counter-terrorism related operations, or you can say some kind of evacuation drive or something like that. So please remember that it is to actually get rid of the, or you can say this particular man-eating wolves. They try to came up with this idea of this particular operation. Okay, so now moving forward, we will be going to the next part, that is about your know our constitution. We were there on the part 5, that is the union government. We have discussed the parliament, we have discussed president, vice president. We have seen that there are certain aspects of the parliament which has been asked again and again. In that regard, we have started the constitution of you can say parliament. So when we talk about parliament, it is made of 3 organs or institution, you can say. One is Rajya Sabha, second is Lok Sabha, third is president. Okay, mostly it is said that president is the part of executive. Here you will be seeing that in India we don't have that kind of watertight you can say separation. That is why president being part of executive, it is also part of the legislature, that is parliament. Okay, now moving further, we will be seeing, yesterday we have talked about the composition of Rajya Sabha. We have seen that maximum number of members in Rajya Sabha should be 250, and we have also seen that right now it is 245. Okay, we have seen that there are 12 nominated members as well, and these nominations are made by the president in the field of art, science, service and literature. Okay, moving further, there was one particular part how these members are basically elected in Rajya Sabha. So when we talk about election of the members, this will be done by the system of proportional representation and by means of single transferable vote. Okay, now you must know that what is proportional representation and single transferable vote. When we talk about the single transferable vote, there will be a list of candidates and you have to write their name in the priority order. Okay, so that is the system which has been followed in the elections of, you can say, Rajya Sabha members. Now what will be the electoral college? Okay, when we are talking about the representatives which are from the states, in that case the state legislative assemblies will be the one going for the election. So these elections are basically indirect elections. Okay, directly the you can say citizens of our country are not going for the voting. Okay, so here these are indirect elections. In the case of states, the legislative assemblies of the state, they will be going for the voting. In case of union territories, so in a constitution it is given that parliament will decide the procedure. Okay, and parliament has decided that there will be a special electoral college for this purpose. So for this election there will be an electoral college which will be generated and they will be voting for the union territories. Okay, so I hope that is clear. This is about the, you can say, election process of the Rajya Sabha. Now we will be talking about the constitution of the Lok Sabha. We will be seeing how many members are there. Okay, so here you will be seeing the representative of each state in the council of states shall be elected from the legislative assembly of the state in the, so this we have already seen. Now we are talking about the composition of the house of people. We have already seen this. Okay, now the house of people shall consist of not more than 535 members chosen from your states. 535 members will be chosen from your state, and then there are not more than 20 members to be represented from the union territories. Okay, so there are two, you can say, types when we are talking about the representation. One is from the states and second is from the union territories. Here you will be seeing that we are having 535 from the states and 20 members from the union territories. Okay, not more than 20 members to represent union territories, chosen in such a manner that as parliament may decide by the law. Okay, so again in the case of, you can say, union territories, you know that the parliament will decide. Okay, and in the case of you can say this from the states, you know that these Lok Sabha elections are direct elections. So people will be voting for that. So that is the procedure which will be followed. Okay, we have this first past the post system. Okay, so not necessarily they need to have the majority voting. The thing is they need to have the, or you can say the person who is securing the maximum votes over there, that will be winner. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now moving further, and we will be starting with the discussion of the day, that is related to your Supreme Court's guidelines. Or Supreme Court has said that in this issue of the bulldozer justice, they have seen that we will be going for the guidelines. Okay, now what is this bulldozer justice? Earlier you must have heard that if there is a crime or there is this accused person or convicted person, as a matter of fact, governments are going for, you can say, destructing their houses using bulldozers, saying that there are provisions regarding that which are there in the municipalities laws, etc., rules, etc. Okay, because since these persons are habitual criminals, so there are certain loopholes which are there, and most of the time you will be seeing that governments are using them to impart them their own kind of justice. Now Supreme Court has taken the cognizance, and Supreme Court has said that the bulldozer justice, we will lay down pan-India norms for the due process. Now they are talking about one word over here, that is due process, and in this regard we will try to go and understand the procedure established by law, and second is due process. Okay. Now when we are talking about the procedure established by law, that means that if there is a rule, if there is a law which is there, which has been made by the legislature, and then executive is following that, there is no wrong in that. Okay. So that is the procedure established by law. Now since these you can say, when we are talking about these issues which are there, so most of the time you will be seeing that there are certain laws which are there to, you can say, remove the encroachment. Okay. Now these laws are being followed by the local authorities over there, and that is resulting into this bulldozer justice, because they are targeting that criminals. Okay. Now that is there, and that is, you can say, valid, because there is procedure established by law. So they, if someone is asking you, then they can say that this is the rule which we have followed, so they will say that there is nothing wrong in that. Now the problem is that, what is due process? Why Supreme Court is talking about the due process? So when we are talking about due process, that means that they will also look into the way that law was followed. Second thing is, they will also see whether this law is valid or not. Okay. So in India we are having this, when we talk about Article 21, it is written that you can say there is a state cannot take life of a person other than that procedure established by law. If there is a procedure established by law, then state can take a life of a person as well. Okay, life and liberty of a person. So when we talk about the arrest is a procedure, and that is why your liberty is curtailed over there. Okay, when we talk about the capital punishment, there is a procedure for that, and that is why you can say there can be a capital punishment as well. Now that is the procedure established by law, because there is a law which has been written over there, and we are using that. Now due course of law means that whether that law or the rationale behind that law, reasonability behind that law will also be judged. Okay, so that is about the due process of law. Now in this case, Supreme Court is saying that we will be giving guidelines related to the due process. We will be seeing whatever you are doing, if you are following the procedure, that in that case also the intent behind that should be important. Okay, so you have to follow the law in letter as well as in spirit. Okay, so basically when we are talking about we are following the text of the law, that means that we are following the law in letter, and when we talk about the due process, that is following the law in letter as well as spirit. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now coming to the, you can say, certain observation which has been made over here from this particular article, we will be discussing that. Here you will be seeing that the Supreme Court of India plans to establish nationwide guidelines to ensure due process in property demolition. Context is that the court addressing the concern about the use of bulldozers in demolishing properties linked to the individual accused of crimes, as seen in Delhi's Jahangirpuri area after 2022 riots. Okay, so that issue started over there, and other than that also we have seen this kind of incident which are happening across India. Okay. Now demolishing the property solely based on the criminal accusation or the conviction is not permissible without following the legal procedure. Okay, the thing is, now if there are 10, you can say, houses which are there in a particular area, and then there is this person who is a criminal over here, or you can say that that person has been accused of a particular crime or conviction has been made against him, then you are coming over here and then you are demolishing only this particular portion, because that is you can say against the laws of that particular area or the municipalities, and all these buildings are there. In that case you will be saying that there is something wrong which is happening over there, because they are not following the procedure for all of them. Okay, so there is targeted discrimination that is possibly over there. Okay, so considering that, Supreme Court has said that demolishing the property solely based on the criminal accusations or the conviction is not permissible without following the legal procedure. Okay. Now the court intends to draft pan-India guidelines that will ensure demolition adheres to proper legal processes and protect against the misuse. That is why they are going for the pan-India guidelines for that. Right now they have just mentioned their intent to go for it. They will be hearing the case again and then they will go for the pan-India guidelines. Okay, then we will discuss that again. Now moving further. While the court will not protect unauthorized constructions or the encroachment on public roads, it stresses that the demolition must follow the legal norms. Now what they are saying is that we are not protecting the encroachments, we are not protecting the illegal construction. What we are doing is that when you are going for the, you can say, removal of all these things, you have to follow a particular procedure. In that regard, you can see that there should be a particular properly notice that should be given, particular time should be given to the evacuate the property, etc. These are the norms which has to be followed over here. That is what Supreme Court wants. Practice of using bulldozer as a form of punishment and called for fair legal procedure. Okay, so basically this form of punishment is not acceptable. Now the Supreme Court will continue hearing and finalizing the guidelines on the September 17, 2024, aiming to ensure consistent and lawful practices in the property demolition across India. So basically they will be giving guidelines on this particular day. Okay, here why this is an issue? This is an issue because when you are giving such form of punishment, and these forms of punishment are being given by the executive. Now the problem is, this is not the job of the executive. Okay, when we are talking about the giving punishment or delivering justice, that is the job of judiciary. Okay, when we are talking about, we don't have this, you can say, watertight separation, but we do have separation of power. There are powers which has been given to a particular organ of the government. When we talk about the, you can say, judicial power, has been vested with the you can say judiciary and not with the executive, and that is why this is important for us to discuss. Now moving further, and we will be talking about the plan for the farms. Okay, as I told you that this discussion will be a little longer now, because you know that in the last few, you can say, years, government has gone for the digital, you can say, infrastructure. Government is pushing for the digital infrastructure because this is giving you result and this is the future ahead. Okay, now you must have heard about the UPI, you must have heard about the e-governance, you must have heard about the digital India. There are various other factors which are there in particular domain. We have talked about the instant payments. Okay, we have talked about the various Aadhaar linked benefits, etc., direct benefit transfers. All these things are basically related somehow, somewhere to the digital infrastructure. Okay, or specifically speaking, I can say digital public infrastructure. Okay, this, when we are talking about the DPI over here, that is the push which is government right now focusing on, or the, when we are talking about the various countries also, government is trying to make sure that we are trying to you can say capitalize on our infrastructure which we have built. Okay, we are trying to give the APIs related to the UPI to other countries as well, so that there can be smooth flow of the, you can say, payments, etc. So that is there, that is the push which is given by the government. Now government is looking for using the similar methods in the agriculture as well. Okay, when we talk about any kind of services, we are more sure that we now have this digital public infrastructure, and that is why service sector is performing good. Now government is looking for using this technology in the agriculture as well, and that is why this digital agriculture mission, you can say digital agriculture mission, which has been actually approved. Okay, so let's see. Rupees 28 crore digital agriculture mission seeks to create robust digital public infrastructure in the agriculture sector, bringing together data and information from the farms, lands, you can say crop fields, yields, etc. Now what they are trying to do is that they will be taking data, they will be making a database, one database of the crops, crop pattern, okay, topography of the area. Then they will be going for the land records. Other than that, they have come up with the recently one more form, that is basically your Krishi DSS, that is decision support system, in which they will be going for the GIS or remote sensing as well, and on the basis of which they will be looking for the, you can, quality of the soil over there, etc., and then they will be helping farmers make a decision regarding that. Now all these things are there to increase the farmers income, one thing, to increase the productivity in the agriculture. Okay, so that is there. Now let's see what is the plan over here. Rupees 2,817 crore digital agriculture mission on creation of digital public infrastructure. When we are talking about the component of the digital public infrastructure, there are basically three components which they will be focusing on. That is, one is agri-stack, we will be talking about that. Second is basically Krishi DSS, and then soil profile maps. Okay, these are the three, you can say, broad factors which they will be using. In agri-stacks, they will be going for the farmers registry, they will be going for the various maps which they will be following. Okay, so that is there. Now, if we are talking about the DPI mission over here, so you will be seeing similar to the government's flagship e-governance initiative in other sectors, which have over the years produced path-breaking solutions. Aadhaar, unique ID. You know that Aadhaar is basically government of India's one system which was actually used for the welfare schemes. Okay, in the welfare schemes, most of the time you will be finding that Aadhaar linking is necessary. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is the e-governance we have seen. Other than that, we have DigiLocker, which we have actually, you know that all the documents can be arranged in DigiLocker and you don't have to carry the physical copies, etc. Second thing is the e-signatures are there, signature services are there, unified payment interface, that is UPI. Okay, other than that, instant money transfers, etc. All these things are part of your you can say digital public infrastructure. Okay, now here I have told you that agri-stack, Krishi decision support, and the soil profiling, these are certain you can say initiatives which will be taken by the government in this particular field, farmers to access and avail the various services. On the basis of these particular data, they will be making sure that the, you can say you know, the marginal farmers, etc., they will be getting these various services to support their agriculture. Okay, now tech based ecosystem they are creating, digital general crop estimation survey, that is also one of the component, accurate estimate of the agriculture production. Why we are doing all these things? To make sure that we are going for the accurate estimation. One thing, when we are talking about the estimation of production, they are also, they will also include the estimation of the soil profile, estimation that what kind of monsoon will be there, estimation that what kind of crop will be better over there. So all these things are here. Ultimate aim is to increase the productivity of the agriculture. Now background funding if we are talking about, so out of 2,817 crore, 1,940 crore will be given by the center, rest will be given by the states. Okay, so that you can say that there will be a role of states as well in the finance over here. Now this is something which was actually planned for earlier in 2021-2022, but because of the COVID-19 that particular plan was postponed, and now we are going for this particular thing. And this is, you can say that first 100 days of the third term of PM Modi, they have actually come up with this idea and they will be trying to you know, work on that. Okay, now if we look about certain things, when we are talking, this particular initiative will facilitate the implementation of the digital public infrastructure in the agriculture for coverage of farmers and their lands in 3 years. Okay, so that is the timeline they have decided. In 3 years they would want to go for the making land records and make sure that DPI in agriculture become a robust thing in the next 3 years. Okay, during this year, digital crop survey for the Kharif will be done. Now starting from the next season, they will be going for the Kharif mapping, and then in the next year they will be going for the other crops as well. And initially they will be taking the details of 6 crores in this particular year, and totally they will be taking details of 11 crore farmers overall. Okay, now 3 pillars if we are talking about, one is agri-stack. Okay, now agri-stack is something they will be going for creating registries. Okay, these registries will include farmers registry, geo-reference village maps, and crop shown registries. Okay, in the farmers registry they will be going for the digital identity of the you can say parcel of the lands. Okay, so basically as we have Aadhaar, they will be going for the Bhu Aadhaar. Okay, that will be a unique ID for your, you can say, land parcel. Okay, and that will be attached with the ownership of the farmer, or you can say a person who is owning that. So similarly you will be getting the land records as well. Now these land records are attached with the, you can say, agricultural land. Then they will be going for the another thing, that is basically your crop shown registry. Okay, So that is that how much crop or how much which kind of crop is been shown in which particular area, that kind of registry they will be going for. Details of the crop planted by the farmers, digital crop survey will be taking place. Okay, for the pilot project also they have actually gone for 11 states and they have started this pilot digital crop survey. When we are talking about this farmers registry, they have actually gone for this you can say pilot project in 6 districts, okay, in various states. Identify this particular agri stake or the farmers registry, as I told you, that will be made for the 11 crore farmers, 6 crore in the next year. After that they will be going for the 3 crores, and in the next year they will be going for the another 2 crores. Okay. Then moving further, you will be seeing the geo referencing village map. So basically here they will be including the geographical information on the land records, okay, with their physical location. So basically you can say that that is kind of a geo tagging. Your land parcel will be tagged with respect to the nearby physical features as well. So they will be able to know that what where this particular land is located. Okay. Then coming to the next, that is Krishi DSS, that is decision support system. Okay, which will which was actually we have talked about this particular system like 4-5 days before, so you can check that. Otherwise also it will create a comprehensive geospatial system to unify remote sensing based information on the crop, soil, weather and water resources. When we talk about the agri stack over here, that is talking about the land and land records. Okay, when we talk about the you can say Krishi DSS, that is talking about the agricultural components like soil, like crop patterns, weather, water resources. All these things will be you can say compiled over here using the GIS. Okay, other than that they will be using remote sensing. So that is there. Moving further, you will be seeing that support crop map generation for the identifying crop shown patterns, drought, flood monitoring, technology based yield assessment, etc. So basically what they are doing is this, they are creating a monitoring system. Basically in simple words you can say that they will be monitoring crop patterns, they will be monitoring weather patterns, they will be monitoring the water resources nearby. Okay, so all these things will be there. Then soil profile maps. Okay, so obviously they will be going for the nutrient qualities and the soil which is having what kind of nutrients in that particular area. So these are certain things which they are planning in this digital agriculture mission. They are creating digital public infrastructure in agriculture because we have seen that that has worked in various other sectors. So we are trying to do it in the farm sector as well. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now the focus on data, obviously if you have more data, that means that more and more pattern you will be able to realize. More pattern means that you will be able to go for the better estimations. Better estimations will lead to better productivity, and ultimate aim over here is that to increase the income of farmer. Okay, because productivity, if productivity will increase, that means that farmer will be benefited by them. Okay, so that is the idea behind the whole picture over here. So I hope that is clear. Now whatever we have read, okay, in you can say a very comprehensive form I have written over here. Agri stack, as I told you, there are 3 components. One is agri stack, second is Krishi DSS, then third is soil profiling. Okay, we have discussed all these things, you can go through it. We have talked about the farmers registry, we have talked about the crop shown registry, we have seen this particular system will be your remote sensing based monitoring. Okay, and soil profile maps, that is about the profiling of the soil and knowing about the nutrient quality of the soil. Okay, so these are the components. Now talking about the impact, what will be the impact? Okay, first is digital identifications. Okay, we will be having a digital record. Okay, farmers will receive digital IDs, these are Bhu-Aadhaar, simplifying the access to benefits and services, reducing the bureaucratic paperweight. Now when we are talking about the you can say red tapeism, that will reduce that. Second thing is when we talk about the service deliveries and direct benefits, etc., that will be very easy for them to deliver, for government to deliver, because now you will be having a digital IDs just like Aadhaar. Earlier what used to happen is that there was, you can say, leakages. Okay, so these, because of the leakages, it used to actually lead into some kind of you can say a process wherein a particular person who is the genuine beneficiary, he is not getting the services, but there are people who does not need it, they are getting it because they had the, you can say, paperwork related to that and awareness with respect to that. Now with the Aadhaar, if they connect it with your bank account, okay, and when we are talking about the Aadhaar, they also have your, you can say, other backgrounds. Okay, they are, when we talking about the poverty line, etc., they will get that particular data. And let's say talking about the LPG subsidies, okay, they had the Aadhaar, they had your account number, they had your mobile number. Okay, then you must have heard about this Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity. Using that, they have actually gone for the direct benefit transfer. Okay, similarly, if you have the, you can say, land record, if you have the quality of that particular land, what kind of soil is there, what kind of nutrients are there, so service delivery will become very easy. What kind of fertilizer you require for your that particular land. Okay, so that will be the things. Okay, if not service delivery, at least that particular farmer will get to know that what kind of fertilizer he has to use in that particular field. Okay, let's say if there is a field which is basically rich in, you can say, let's say nitrogen. Okay, now if he is using urea, that will ultimately harm the crops, because it is already rich in nitrogen. Other, you can say, fertilizer which was the need of that particular, you can say, field. Okay, so that will be very easy for the government to decide, because these data will be there. Enhanced data, if you have gone for the soil mapping, you have gone for the various mobile surveys, etc., so you will have better data. Better data means better accuracy means better predictions, and then better productivity. Improved estimates, as I told you, this is the, you can say, digital identification. It leads to the enhancement of the data, it leads to the improved estimations, and it will increase the efficiency. This will ultimately increase the productivity. Okay, I hope that is clear. That is the way I wanted to address it. Now moving further to the next article, which is talking about India and Singapore pacts on the semiconductors health likely, says MEA ahead of the PM visit. Now PM is supposed to visit the areas of Singapore and the countries of Singapore and Brunei. Okay, so here you will be seeing, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is headed to Brunei and Singapore Tuesday, India and the Singapore are looking at the number of new forward looking futuristic area of cooperations. There was this meeting, day before yesterday or before that, there was this meeting, ministerial level meeting, which was happened. Okay, so two ministers from our side and two ministers from the Singapore side were there, and they have talked about the situations. They have talked about the, you can say, area of cooperations before this particular visit, and semiconductor, digitization, skill, health, advancement in the manufacturing, connectivity. These are the areas we might go for the signing any particular pact. Okay, now working towards setting up a joint working group in defense as well. Okay, when we are talking about the Brunei, India and Brunei, we are talking about one more defense pact, or you can say joint working group on the defense. So that is one more thing. A new leader in Singapore, and this is an opportunity time to set stage for the next stage of our vibrant relations. Okay, in Singapore there was elections, and new you can say leader is there. Considering that, if we want to have better relations, this is the opportunity time we should go and make sure that our bilateral relations are or you can say both the leaders are on the same page. Okay, India Singapore ties have evolved over the time, and they have this dynamic strategic partnership. As I told you, these words, strategic partnership, dynamic strategic partnership, these are words which are having a sway in the international relations. When we talk about the dynamic strategic partnership with Singapore, that means that our relations are good with Singapore. Okay, then we are having a shared history and people to people ties. You must know that there are links with respect to INA. When we talk about the Indian National Army at the time of the independence struggle, so we have links with the Singapore with respect to that also. Okay, so we have a shared history and people to people ties. Our your trade and investment flows are robust. We have robust defense cooperations and growing exchange in the culture and the education areas. Okay, so these are certain things which are already there, and we are trying to make sure that we include more and more sectors like this. Now, 4 Indian ministers participated in the recent second in India Singapore ministerial roundtable conference, which I told you that we just right now we have talked about that. Now we have gone to the next level of identifying areas of bilateral coordination, whether it found in the food security, renewable energy, green hydrogen and the semiconductors. All these things are, if we see, renewable energy, green hydrogen, semiconductor, these are emerging technologies. Okay, and that is why we are going for such pacts with countries like Singapore and Brunei. Modi's visit to Brunei will be the first bilateral visit by any prime minister. Okay, so this is important fact. Okay, so that is why this particular visit will become important for us. It will also mark 40 years of the diplomatic ties between India and Brunei. So that is also important thing. Brunei is an important partner in India's Act East policy and its vision in the Indo-Pacific. A decade, when we are talking about the Act East policy, that is, we will be going for finishing a decade of Act East policy. Okay, now there will be various MOUs which will be signed. Okay, so we'll be talking about that later once they are signed. Now we'll be talking about the locations over here. Out of this particular article, what is important for us is that what is the area of cooperations. Okay, because they will not ask about the relations with India and Brunei relations, but they will ask about the, you can say, South Asia. Okay, they can ask about the ASEAN countries. Okay, they can ask about the security situation in the South Asia. So with respect to that, you can go through, you can put certain details about this visit, etc. You can say that with Brunei it was the first visit. Second thing is they can ask you about you can say Act East policy. Okay, role of the, you can say, South Asian countries in the Act East policy. So for that you can take data from this particular article. Now looking at the Singapore, here you can see this particular area, this is basically your Singapore. Okay, and when we talk about Brunei, Brunei is somewhere over here, this small part that is basically here, that is Brunei. Okay, now when we talk about this particular archipelago, you know that this this is southern part, that is basically your you can say Indonesian or the Indonesian archipelago. And then when we talk about this particular part, this is Malaysia. You know that this strait over here, that is Malacca Strait, that is important for us. Okay, so that is Malaysia, and this is Brunei. This is part of Malaysia, this particular island over here, and this is over here. Okay, then you know that Indonesia is trying to shift their capital from Jakarta to somewhere in Borneo Island, somewhere over here. So that is there. I guess the name is Nusantara. Okay, so that is there. So you can remember the locations, that is Singapore over here and Brunei over here. And as I told you that this is an important sea route. Okay, that is Malacca Strait one. Now talking about the Act East policy, here you can see this is the map where India is trying to focus. Okay, this is the countries of your South Asia. Now when we talk about the countries like Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, these are in the India's extended neighborhood over here, and that is why these are important for us, because if we talk about the northeastern region, okay, for the development of the northeastern region, these countries are important. Okay, we can you know that we only had a 150-kilometer wide corridor over here. Okay, so that particular corridor, that is Siliguri corridor, which is there, which is connecting us this mainland you can say rest part of India with the northeastern part of India. Okay, so to go for the connectivity, if you have to go from here to here, you have to follow this particular path. Okay, so that is time taking, that is when we are talking about the geographical conditions also, that is not very good. So for the connectivity, you can directly go from the, you can say, maritime route over here. So that is there. Other than that, we are going for the IMT trilateral highways, etc. These are part of your Act East policies, because we are focusing on these countries, okay, in the neighborhood, so that we can go for the development for the northeast as well. Okay, so that is one of the, you can say, idea behind that. Now see, with its Act East policy, India hopes to deepen its political, economic and the security relationship with the countries of Southeast Asia and wider Indo-Pacific, balancing against the rise of China as a key driver. Okay, so this area, this is your Southeast Asia, and we are trying to have a sway, or you can say cooperation in this particular area, because you know that when we talk about this South China Sea area over here and Indo-Pacific area over here, we are having high stakes. Okay, so that is why we are making sure these countries are in our favor. So that is why we have this Act East policy. Earlier we used to have a Look East policy. You know that before the fall of the USSR, we did not give much attention to these countries. After the fall of USSR, we have actually gone for the, you can say, we have seen the rise of China. Now we had to counter China, and that is why we have started focusing on these particular areas. Okay, so that is, earlier we had Look East policy, and then we have gone for the Act East policy. Now there are certain important factors, or you can say certain ideas which you can take from over here. There is this Agartala Akhura rail link, which is there between India and you can say Bangladesh. Then we have intermodal transport linkages and inland waterways through the Bangladesh. Okay, that is to connect with the, you can say, northeast region. Then here Kaladan multimodal project we have. Okay, other than that, we have trilateral highway project to connect northeast with the Myanmar and Thailand. So that is your IMT trilateral highway. Similarly, we have road and bridge project and modernization of the hydroelectric power and project undertaken under India Japan Act East Forum. Okay, so here we are actually collaborating with other countries so that the investment can flow in. Other than that, the you can say pace of the project can increase. Okay, so that is basically your Act East policy. It was announced in 2014. Okay, before that we had Look East policy. Okay, so you can go and read about it if you are there, or you can say interested in that. Okay, so here Look East policy, which was promulgated in 1992. There was fall of USSR in 1989-90, somewhere around that USSR has fallen, and then we have started to look for the other partners, and one of them was Southeast Asia. Okay, so that is about this discussion. Moving further, in the international field, if we talk about, after bodies found massive protest broke out in Israel for hostage deal. Okay, so now in Israel there are these protests which has started, so that there is a pressure on the government to go for a deal with the Hamas. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, for your own read, there is this article, name and story of Katak's Ravenshaw College. Okay, so basically here they are trying to change the name of the college, saying that it is having a colonial origin. So you can go through this particular article. Okay, now last part, that is the practice question. Which of the following is not a component of the Digital Agriculture Mission DPI? AgriStack, Krishi Decision Support DSS, Soil Profile Maps, Agriculture Credit Enhancement Program. Okay, so you can attempt this question. Answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.